Thank you everybody for being here. We're handing over the memorandum, the Freedom Alliance memorandum, to a representative of the Speaker. Thank you. Welcome.
No more lies, no more lies.
No more lies!
No more lies, no more lies, no more lies.
No more lies!
No more lies, 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 no more lies,
No more lies!
no more lies, no more lies, no more lies,
No more lies!
no more lies, no more lies, no more lies,
No more lies!
no more lies, 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 no more lies,
No more lies! Freedom of
choice,
liberty force!
vaccines,
Freedom! Freedom!
Baru, this post is upside down.
I want freedom! What do you want?
freedom of choice,
I want freedom! What do you want?
freedom of choice,
Liberty force!
vaccines,
Liberty force!
vaccines,
Freedom of!
choice,
Freedom of!
choice,
No more!
lies,
No more!
lies,
Freedom of!
choice,
Liberty force!
vaccines,
Liberty force!
vaccines,
No more!
lies,
No more!
lies,
Liberty force!
vaccines,
Liberty force!
vaccines,
Freedom of!
choice,
Freedom of!
choice,
I want freedom! What do you want?
freedom of choice.
My name is Paolo. I'm the founder of Freedom Alliance South Africa. You may ask, who is Freedom Alliance South Africa? We've only just recently come onto the scene. We're an amalgamation of people in South Africa along with civic and social groups that are coming together in unity across this country. What we're here to promote is unity, peace and freedom. Unity is something that hasn't been achieved in this country if we look back in the decades and centuries. It's something that seems an elusive property in South Africa. But we're here to bring people together behind something that we can all agree on. And together we're going to forge unity in this country. And we're going to bring this country together like they've never seen before. We're not going to accept and acknowledge and allow them to continue the divisions which have instituted over decades, whether natural or orchestrated. They've divided us on the ground and we've bought into those divisions. And it's time for us to look at each other in the eye and start celebrating our diversity and understanding how much we have to offer each other, how much we have to offer this country, and where this country can go. They've raped and pillaged Africa and South Africa. They're busy selling South Africa from under our noses. We have treaties which are busy selling off our sovereignty to the World Health Organization right now as we speak. So it's time for us to realize what's going on. Don't look at what's happening on the surface. Look at what's going on behind the scenes in the shadows. That's what's really happening. The Klaus Schwabs of this world, the Global Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, busy trying to coerce itself on the world. So I want you guys to keep awake and keep promoting what is going on. It's all up to you in that we are the representatives of South Africa. It looks like a small group here, but the unity is coming together across South Africa. There are large numbers of people coming together. And it's important and it's imperative that everywhere you are, whether it be in your workplace, whether it be in your families, whether it be with your friends, that you spread the message and tell the truth. A lie is very quick to propagate when you've got the propaganda machine behind you. The truth takes a little bit longer to circulate the world. But if you continue pushing it and continue endorsing it and continue voicing it, it will get around this world. It's just going to take a bit longer, so don't relent, don't get tired, don't put your hands down and don't shut up your voice. Now we're here across the country in marches in here, Johannesburg, Durban and PE today to hand over this Freedom Memorandum. We've also got marches in Pretoria with the ACDP and the Save the Children Foundation on On the 21st and on the 22nd, they will be marching in Bloemfontein, the students and Freedom Alliance, before the big court case on the 23rd. Is one of the biggest court cases that we've probably had in this country, particularly relating to COVID. Now we're here today to celebrate 25 years of our Constitution and our Bill of Rights. And whilst we're remembering the people that gave up their lives, shed their blood, and have had their lives destroyed, have had land dispossessed from them in fighting for freedom and democracy in this country. But in handing over the Freedom Memorandum, we are also highlighting our concerns in that for 27 years there's been maladministration and corruption. And what we see after 27 years of independence is in our very town, just a few kilometers away, there's people that are living 20 in a room. There's gang-infested violence. Your children are dying on the streets.
Yes.
You just go up the road here and you've got squatter camps. There's more squatter camps today than there was in 1994. One of our national leaders was telling us he remembers the pass laws because as a child he had a pass. And he tried to buy a ticket to the Sevens game and he wasn't allowed because he wasn't vaccinated. In the Orange Free State they have an entry for the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. And the corporates are enforcing this vaccine mandate on us. Government organizations are enforcing it on civil servants. And all of this is very reminiscent of what many of us experienced as young children in the apartheid era. They are starting to institute apartheid-style policies again. It's got nothing to do with color this time, but it's got to do with medicine. And this is just an entry point, we know, into a system which is coercive and which is going to dominate every aspect of our lives. Now it's a big contrast in that we're celebrating Human Rights Day, which embraces the people that made sacrifices from Sharpeville to Soweto to the corners of our borders. And on the other side of the fence, we're experiencing the darkest days of democracy in our country. Now things like POPIA, informed consent, freedom to choose and personal health have all been ignored to mandate an experimental solution to a problem that they say has no other solution. And the very solution that they are implementing is littered with problems. I went onto the CDC site in September 2021. There were over 20,000 deaths and over 200,000 injuries because of the vaccine, and that was close to 6 months ago. And we all know that the CDC VAERS is vastly underreported, and that's just a representation of a small group of the global population. So those immediately one should have pulled those so-called vaccines off the shelves. The fact that they are even being termed vaccines is a travesty, because a vaccine doesn't come onto the scene as a vaccine, it comes onto the scene as a vaccine candidate. It then goes through animal trials, human trials 1, human trials 2, and that takes 10 to 15 years. That has been rushed through, and each one of you that is exposed to it, whether it be in your workplace, whether it be wherever else you're exposed to it and mandated, understand that you're still taking something that is experimental, is unproved. And a case in point would be the case in France, where the guy died from the vaccine and the insurance company refused to pay him out or pay his family out because they said that he would have been aware of the adverse events and therefore it was suicide that he was committing. And that's what the games they're playing with us in this arena. Now we also just state that we are concerned that Chapter 9 institutions, the South African Human Rights Commission, who's supposed to serve and protect us, supposed to serve and protect the Constitution and promote and defend it, has been largely chastised by juristic bodies which do not have our best interests at heart. And we're here to say that the human rights violations that have been committed over the last 2 years need to come to an end. The overextended, unconstitutional state of disaster, which has now been extended for another month without any real warranted reason, needs to come to an end immediately. And I want you to read this. I want you to read what it says. It says, freedom is the power to choose. And without freedom, or without choice, you don't have freedom. Now just look back over the last 2 years and say that to yourself again. Freedom is the power to choose. Without choice, you don't have freedom. And then you start understanding where we're sitting in history. We're sitting in history in a time where they've stripped us of our choice. They decide for us. From everything from medical grounds to eventually will be how you do your banking and whether you can bank or not. So that's what's coming in the future. Now we're also fairly shocked and disappointed that the very man that was tasked to help draft our constitution, our president, who we believed when he came into power would change this arena and put years of broken ideologies, corruption and maladministration behind him, and that he would usher in a new age in South Africa, and that we would finally see the rainbow nation that has been promised so long. But unfortunately, he's taken this country to a point where many are saying, calling the Constitution our constitution, which is a travesty because it's one of the greatest constitutions of the world. And he's not protecting it, he's not preserving it, and he's not promoting it.
Preserving his pockets.
Now, Mr. President, we as FASA urge you to stand and rise, to serve your people and be the leader that you were elected to be, Mr. President. Put your people first.
No more lies!
You don't have a long time to live, Mr. President. You're at the tail end of your life. You maybe got a few more years on me, and I'm at the tail end of my life. How do you want to be remembered, Mr. President? As yet another president who went down in history, who was coerced by the charlatans of this world, and who misled his people down the garden path through lies? Or do you want to be remembered as the man who put his people first? The choice is yours, Mr. President.
Make the right choice.
And as we honor God,
Of choice.
who is honored, I might remind you, in the Constitution, I remind you that God will not be mocked.
Amen.
And I remind you, Mr. President, of Moses, when he went to the pharaohs and he asked them to let his people go. And I want you to consider putting your people first and promoting the Constitution, which you were elected to do. I pray, Mr. President, that God will soften your heart and that you, in the words of Moses, will let your people go.
Amen.
Now I want you to think about this very seriously, Mr. President. We're a very small group here, and we're spatterings of groups across the country. But this country is coming together, and I want you to think very wisely. You could be at the forefront of this movement, and you could lead us into a new golden age, Mr. President. The choice remains in your hand, but I will remind you that God is with us, God is behind us, and God will go ahead of us to win the battles which we are going to engage in. So ensure that you're on the right side of history, Mr. President.
Yes.
Choose wisely, Mr. President.
Choose your people.
Now, whether you're with us or whether you choose to continue on the tangent that you are on, I want you to know that this country is soon going to be ablaze. And I'm not talking about the flames of natural fire. I'm talking about a blaze of unity like you've never seen before. We are going to rise above our divisions, embrace and bring each other together and embrace our diversity. We will begin to love each other and not tear each other apart like you've wanted. You wanted the divisions amongst us because that weakens us. And you're afraid of your people coming together in strength. And that is what's going to happen in this country, Mr. President. There's going to be a blaze across the country. There will be, I wouldn't call it a revolution, but I'm going to call it a revival, like you have never seen before. So thank you everyone for being here. Mr. President, please take those words to heart. God is with us, as I said. He's behind us and He goes ahead of us. Choose to be on the right side of God. Choose to be on the right side of history. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for everything you're doing in your lives and you continue to do. Let's not relent. Let's continue making this country. What changes this country is not me and you. It's all of us collectively changing the way that you are. You be the change in this country and this country will change collectively. Thank you.